Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmitty, Swanee and Clarky visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised. All right, how are we?
Fab-o.
The gang's
Yeah.
back.
Oh no, after our mishap last week. Did you tell everyone where I was or what happened? Or
We
did you
didn't.
just
We didn't.
make
We were
up a
too polite.
fantastic story?
You just said you couldn't make it. We didn't explain that
Yeah.
you left your laptop at work and forgotten the days, and it was really just an administrative error. We didn't go into that. I just
Yes.
thought let's make it. We'll have a bit of mystery about it. Make it sound like he's gallivanting or something.
He's working on a project.
Yeah.
Trial by Wine. He's in a deep
Yeah.
investigation.
He's,
Location.
he's working on a project that's called organisation. He's not very good at it.
I hope that because I know that you're about to do a story, I sincerely hope it's not about Patty Hearst.
About
All
who?
right. Patty Hearst. That's who you did last week.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So Clarky wouldn't know what you recorded. So just
I
in
don't
case we're about
know.
to do the same story back to back. Patty Hearst,
Gosh.
do you know that story? I didn't know the ins and outs, although I'd heard of it. She got kidnapped and then did the whole Stockholm syndrome and became a gorilla for a bit.
An urban gorilla.
An urban gorilla, and then got over it.
What?
Yeah.
I can't wait to listen to it. When's it get released?
About 4 weeks' time.
Okay. Damn it.
All right,
Okay.
so we're not doing that. All right, well, I suppose, have we got any news? Apart from the fact you've located your laptop and brought it home from work.
Oh, we went and saw Sarah Millican on Friday night. Do you know her?
Brilliant.
British comedian.
I do. Was she good?
Great. Yeah, she was very good.
She's
She
clever.
told lots of fanny jokes.
I
Yeah,
bet
she
she
did on
did.
vagina. Yeah.
Paid out on a little upstart who got too drunk and was making too much noise. She was very good at it. One of the things she said was, "Oh, you're one of those people that relies on your prettiness. Well, the lights are off in here, so you're going to have to work on your personality."
What a slap.
That was great.
Wow.
Yeah, she literally just slapped him for about 5 minutes and then said, "You can shut up or fuck off," kind of thing.
Yeah, good on her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not a job
And
I
that was
would
the
like.
second.
Always like when she talks about the meat on the turn. When you know, do not I'm talking.
Is it a downstairs joke?
It's an
Sounds
aging
like
for JJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she goes, when someone says, "Oh, what?" Anyway, it's a friend describing it to her, and she was like, "I don't ever want anything to be described as being slate grey or meat on the turn." So rude, but so funny.
Yeah.
Swanee, you any news?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
All right,
Negative.
really. I had a hens weekend or hens night.
Nice.
It was 12 hours. Started at 3 p.m. on a Saturday, finished at 3 a.m. on the wee hours. It was very old style. It was at a 600-acre property in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And at one point, I got this idea to make the guy who owns the place, who we all know through theatre.
Yeah.
They had, farmers, how they have a house and then it starts to fall down. So they just build another house next door and then they leave the other one to fall apart. And then when they're sick of that house, they build another one a couple of blocks up. You know, I've seen this. This is. I'm not making this up. This is a farmer thing. Well, this is, I think, a fourth or fifth generation farming family.
Mm-hmm.
And they had an old house that had, and it was, when I say an old house, 150-year-old ruin.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got him to do a ghost tour for us. Can you imagine?
Drinks.
10 pissed up women
Jeepers. tottering
down the dirt road to the really probably quite unsafe fallen down house to do a ghost story. It was fantastic. It was, I said to him, "You can make money out of this. This is a winner." It was really good. And yeah, then we danced and sang and karaoke till about 3 a.m.
So it was someone from one of your productions that
It was the
getting married?
girl who directs with me.
Okay.
So she's my partner in crime and she's getting married in April and she's going away for a bit. So that's why she had the hens do so much earlier than the wedding, which is just as well because it's going to take me a month to recover from that. And then, of course, the next morning we woke up about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then there were about 10 of us who slept in a shearing shed.
Yeah.
And then we got up and packed down, did the bump out of the whole thing. All right, so I suppose we should introduce ourselves. I'm Schmitty.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Clarky. And together we are Trial by Wine.
When we did that last week, Clarky, it was like, I'm Schmitty, I'm Swanee, no Clarky. And then both of us were like, and together we are, and together we are. We just couldn't quite nail who was going to do it because you were missing. So please tell me
Wasn't the
back.
same without you.
No.
Aw, thanks.
And what
I
are we
missed you.
drinking on this warm night?
This will make the editing room floor, I'm sure.
Sparkling water.
Not
Wow,
even.
Soda Stream.
Oh,
It's a
you
Soda
won
Stream
the Soda
bottle.
Stream.
It's a mineral drink that I was having with my lunch. It looks like it. It does look
It
like
does
it.
look like
It's a
it.
bit green. If mine
bit
was
green.
that colour, I'd be
Jesus.
worried. Yeah.
It's a weird
bit
colour,
lime.
but
Anyway, yeah, I will move on to something later, but I just need to
I need to
prepare
refresh.
that. I need to, have some fluids and then I'll have something else.
Fair
What are
enough.
you guys drinking?
we've just started on a boring soda water because probably similar to you, Schmitty, we didn't have Monday off, so that was a struggle, but we had a bender on Saturday.
Sarah?
No, Saturday we went to Eureka 89, which is a restaurant on the 89th floor of the Eureka Tower.
Yes, I've been there. Tony took
And
me
we
there
went-
for my 50th. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. So we went with Reggie and we paid. And so she said, her words were, now we're going to fuck you up. And so then we went, drank, I don't know, more than we needed to because we had the restaurant was a meal with wine matching. So we're already a bit drunk. And then,
course.
yeah, it was big. And it was one of those things where the hangover got worse as the Sunday went on.
Oh, like a
And
real
so,
hangover.
yeah, so we're just kind of, taking it easy tonight.
I have to say, again, not being a Victorian, when you first said we went to, and when you said Eureka, was you say 89?
89.
The first thing, when you said Eureka, I thought it was going to be like a
The
theme restaurant, and I thought, I can't. My brain was going.
I was
really?
thinking about
I was thinking, I wouldn't have picked it. And then when you said 89, I thought, oh, is it a like 80s party? And then it was like, oh no, nothing. A very nice restaurant by the sounds of things.
In
Same, right?
Glenrowan.
Yeah.
Until he said about where it was, I thought, oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah, it's a posh restaurant. I was exactly where you are, Swanee.
Wow.
I was like Glenrowan, you're
It's
right.
like they've got to a theme restaurant.
Regional and
It's in
shit.
the Beechworth jail.
It's like you've heard of Dirty Dicks. Now there's Eureka 89.
89.
Come and have your head full of lead. It was like, whoa, be a bushranger.
Have your head full of lead. I love it. What a proposition. Anyway, Schmitty, what are you
should get
drinking?
back into marketing, Swanee. I am drinking a rum.
I'm wasted.
You are wasted. Head full of lead. I love it. I'm on a rum and coke.
Thank goodness. I'm glad someone is.
So, Clarky, you got a story for us?
I do have, yes. Do you want to hear it?
Oh,
I would love
absolutely.
to.
I mean, no pressure, but if you do, I've got one. I'm going to tell you my sources. So, Wikipedia, Newsweek.com, a Netflix documentary called Trust No One, and a cracking article by Vanity Fair, which forms the basis of my story today. So, recently, Stu and I went to see Kylie in concert in Melbourne. So we got to the venue early and thought we'd have a cheeky rosé. Why not? And they were serving Kylie rosé, so we had Kylie rosé. We were sitting there and some friends walked around the corner.
Oh, no, not another one of these 1 degrees of separation moments.
Well, so these are really good friends that we've known for over 30 years but haven't seen for a while because they live in Melbourne, we live up here, and things... We saw them at the wedding, but that was the last time. Anyway, so they pull up a chair and we start chatting and enjoying a few wines, a few too many.
But you didn't expect them, or you expected them?
No. I had no idea they were turning up.
T.G. Chambers, what a coincidence.
It really was. It really was. And at one point, one of them says, how's Trial by Wine going?
I've got a story for you.
I said, we're still going. We just recorded our 180th episode. And she told me that we're on her regular podcast listening list.
Oh,
yes, I was shocked too. And so we just started we started discussing true crime. And she said that she loves scam stories.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's kind of funny because she is so trusting. And when I say trusting, I mean gullible. She will believe anything. We had a bit of a chuckle about how her listening to scam stories is kind of like life skills training, so that she doesn't fall for any of them. So it got me thinking that it's been a while since we've done a scam story. So I started researching a few stories, and my God, there's lots. So we could get a few down the track, but I found this story. So my dear friend, whose name I won't mention, this one is for you. So this is the story.
And thank you for having us on your regular playlist. We appreciate it.
Yeah. It's a good point.
We do it for
yes.
you and the 25 other people who listen to us.
You
25.
know it's true. Everything
The
we do.
listenership's gone up.
It's about 25 regulars. Yep.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
So this is the story of Gerald Cotten. So Gerry, as he was often known, was born on the 11th of May, 1988. Do you know the story of Gerald Cotten?
No.
No. I feel like he's going to
Rightio.
have a different name. It feels like a name you start off with, but you kind of change it. I don't know why I say that.
It's interesting you say that. So he grew up in a large brick house on a quiet suburban street in Belleville, known as the Friendly City, a waterfront community between Toronto and Montreal, best known for its cheddar cheese. That's a good reason to
How
visit.
is it known for cheddar cheese when cheddar cheese is literally from cheddar in England?
Well, because they obviously make good cheddar cheese.
All right. They make
Hasn't
good
been-
cheese.
It
We'll
hasn't
have to
been
visit.
champagned yet, so you can still call it cheddar cheese.
In fact, they Brexited, so who cares what the European Union thinks, hey?
Exactly. So, Swanee,
So what's his
you
name
need to
again? Daryl Cotton.
I was like, who's that Cotton guy that I know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well
Oh, that's it. Daryl. No,
Daryl Cotton.
it's not Daryl. It's his Canadian cousin, Gerry.
Gerry, yeah. In 2010, he graduated with a bachelor's degree in business administration from an honours program at York University's Schulich School of Business.
That doesn't sound real.
Gerry Cotton. I thought he was going to be from like the 60s. like Gerry Cotton. And someone had
He's-
that name recently and they were fairly young.
Oh, he's...
No,
thrown me there.
88
and
is born.
he's... And it's Cotten, which is really weird because I haven't
Oh.
ever heard of that. Might be
Cotton.
a Canadian thing. Anyway, his parents owned an antique store and Gerry decided to go into crypto. So here we go, right? I know nothing about crypto. It's not really something I've been sucked into, nor something that I've benefited from because some people have made squillions from it.
My
I just
nephew's
don't get
made
it.
a decent return.
Yeah, good.
I don't understand it either.
So Gerry was a computer nerd who had entered the right business at the right time and succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. As a teenager, he was involved in Ponzi schemes using the online
Oh,
handle
God.
Scepter on the online forum Talk Gold.
Gerry.
There, he would promote high-EPS, high-yield investment programs that promised
Jesus.
very high returns but were unregulated and anonymous, disclosing little or no details about the investment or who was behind it, while transactions were anonymous and hidden using digital currency.
I hope Raj doesn't listen to this episode. He'll be totally intrigued by this. This is the kind of thing he'd like to do.
Tell Raj to do some research on where the term Ponzi scheme comes from, and then he might learn a thing or two. He could write up a story for you on Ponzi.
That sounds like the kind of thing he'd like to hear about as a teenager and go, oh, what of a dabble. That sounds like the kind of thing I could make a bit of dosh out of. I'd never heard of such a thing. There you go.
A Ponzi scheme, or
No, a Ponzi scheme I've definitely heard of. I didn't know kids were like on, what's it, did you say it was called? Scepter?
That's his
Yeah,
handle.
his online
that was his
handle was
handle,
Scepter.
sorry.
Yeah, on a forum called Talk Gold.
Oh, gold.
Yeah, how good's that?
in 4
So he also sold a proxy service that would reroute a user's internet connection so
Here we
their
go.
IP address would be hidden.
He's literally on 4chan too, isn't
He's
he?
clever, isn't he?
Like he's got skills. So a couple of years after graduation, Gerry moved to Vancouver and joined a clubby community of entrepreneurs who had become enamored with Bitcoin.
Enamored with Bitcoin.
Yes. He attended meetups at coffee shops and dorm rooms organised by a core group of about 10 people who called themselves, this is quite clever, Vancouver Bitcoin Co-op.
It's very clever, yes.
He's a lateral thinker there. Most of these early acolytes were drawn to the digital currency's libertarian ethos, its promises of decentralisation, transparency, speed, and independence from governments and financial institutions. So a bit of the research I did about this, and it's not really something, like I said, I'm not really into Bitcoin, but I think the appeal of it is that you're operating outside of the mainstream financial markets and no one knows what you've got, no one knows who you are, you can do whatever you want. To me, it just sounds like dodgy.
You're buying
as fuck.
nothing. You're just buying
Well,
nothing,
you're
and someone
getting
else is
nothing.
buying nothing. Yeah, that's it. I don't get it.
And could I possibly get scammed when there's no regulations? I mean, unlikely, surely.
No, you can get
in
scammed
a
where
world
there
of
are
people.
regulations.
Bitcoin would enable more than 2 billion people who lacked access to banks to send and receive payment. It would offer stability to citizens of countries with chaotic currencies, and it would eliminate all banking fees. This is apparently the appeal of it.
Mm.
It doesn't sound very appealing. In April 2013, around the time that Cotten appeared in Vancouver, the price of a Bitcoin had risen to $266.
Mm. It's thousands now,
Um,
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's thousands to buy one Bitcoin.
when I say that, I probably should have added a bit in there. So there's this thing called Pizza Day, which is a significant day for Bitcoin because somebody gave somebody a Bitcoin for delivering a pizza or two pizzas to them. So that was kind of a value of what Bitcoin was at that day. So it's called
Like a
Pizza
tip.
Day. Well, no, like a
A
delivery fee.
$10,000 tip.
Pay for a pizza and deliver, and that's what Bitcoin is worth. You know, you get a pizza delivered for, I don't know, I haven't done it forever, but $25 maybe.
Mate, inflation, cost of living crisis, 35. But yeah, your point.
No, but on Pizza Day it wasn't. So Pizza
True.
Day it was a long time ago. Anyway, so it had gone up from Pizza Day $25 or whatever it was to 266. But it was not easy to buy or sell if you lacked technological sophistication and considerable patience. So at the time,
So it didn't meet its manifesto of, providing people with unstable currencies or, no access to banks, a way to
it
transfer
certainly,
money.
the no
So
access
that's a lot
to
of old
banks,
shit.
I think, wasn't being delivered on. So at the time, 70% of the global Bitcoin trade was conducted through Mount Gox, it says. Mount Gox?
Okay.
Mr. Gox. Let's go with Mount Gox. A Tokyo-based exchange and had to be funded by sending a bank wire to Japan. So it sounds like it's a bit of a pain.
Dodgy ass.
Because Canadian banks wanted nothing to do with Bitcoin, users had to transfer funds through a series of intermediaries, bleeding transaction fees.
But I thought it had no transaction fees. That was one of its manifesto items too.
Yeah, but for banks. Enter Gerry Cotten. In November 2013, Gerry Cotten and an older business partner, Michael Patron, an authority on currency trading with passions for Brazilian jiu-jitsu and luxury automobiles.
Not BJJ.
Raj. He's going to love this story.
Raj does BJJ because that's what Jeremy jokes about it because we don't know that. BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That sounds
Thank God for that. Thank God for that extra J.
I know.
Gosh, that's an important extra J. So he started the Quadriga Coin Exchange, or Quadriga CX. Now, Patron, his business partner, already had a rep with the authorities. He was actually born Omar
Surprise me.
Danini and was convicted on identity theft charges in the US and served 18 months in federal prison. Like, this is the thing about Bitcoin, all of this free, libertarian, outside of regulated banks, blah, blah, blah. Surely it encourages dodgy people.
100%.
Anyway, Danini had pleaded guilty to burglary and grand theft charges and had been deported to Canada. I'm unsure about how he got deported to Canada, but apparently
From
he
where?
did. In America.
Well,
He
yeah,
served
that
18
makes
months.
perfect sense though, because isn't it the 51st state?
52nd, isn't it?
52nd.
I
I don't
just
know. I
feel
saw
like-
something the other day where they said, "Well, you're not your 51st anything" or something. In his response
Yeah.
to the lunacy of Trump saying he's going to take Canada. Jesus. Anyway.
Renamed Canada. Yeah. So he officially changed his name from Omar Danini to Omar Patron in British Columbia in March 2003 and changed it again to Michael Patron in 2008. Nothing to see here.
Fine.
Unlike Patron, Gerry had no convictions and wasn't on the radar of the police. In fact, he had a clean rap sheet and a great reputation, which meant he could be the public face of Quadriga. In a small, inefficient market, Quadriga swiftly distinguished itself. It was the cheapest exchange, the fastest, and by all appearances, the safest. The first Bitcoin trading platform to hold a money services business license from FinTrack, Canada's anti-money laundering agency.
Okay.
That's dodgy, isn't it? Smells dodgy anyway. Quadriga installed a Bitcoin ATM in its office, the second of its kind in Canada, and accepted gold by the ounce, which could be dropped off in person.
Was that when you went up, you did a bit of prospecting and cleaned it off and then popped down to the ATM and got your Bitcoin from the ounces
You go to
of gold?
Glenrowan, do a bit of prospecting, then fly to Canada.
But Canada and the Yukon, people are still prospecting.
Plenty. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway, in 2014, $1.4 million Canadian dollars worth of Bitcoin were exchanged on Quadriga.
That's not a lot, though, is it?
It's not a lot, no.
Well, I mean, it's Bitcoin. It sounds like a lot to me.
Yeah, but remember when I suppose if it's worth 200 something, so that's...
I have no dollars in Bitcoin.
If a Bitcoin is one Bitcoin, right, and you said 7 point something million, times that by 200 maybe, Swanee, for the
Yeah.
currency value of $1.
Yeah.
Maybe? I don't know. I don't understand it.
No, I think it's 7.4 million of Bitcoin, not of
That's what I'm saying.
Canadian
So
dollars worth of
times it
Bitcoin.
out-
So
Oh, no, there's nothing. Whatever.
yeah. So Gerry explained Quadriga as a company that stored customer funds on paper wallets in safe deposit boxes. It gets very complicated.
God.
It stored what?
Paper.
Customers? Paper
Customer
money
funds
or
on
gold?
paper wallets in safe deposit boxes.
So they had safe deposit boxes with envelopes with bits of ounces of gold or whatever
Paper.
you gave them.
Yeah, customer funds.
Whatever. Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I reckon it's more like Bitcoin lists or something in paper wallets in safe deposit boxes. But I think it's a metaphor too. So we just send money to them. We don't need to go to the bank we don't need to go back to the bank every time we want to put money into it. We just send money from our Bitcoin app directly to those paper wallets and keep it safe that way. I don't understand.
No.
I never profess to.
And if you're wondering why Clarky just said that, it's because he looked up and he saw my face, which was
I did.
What?
100%.
I do not.
Yeah.
And then you went, I don't
Yeah.
understand.
I was
Mimicking or saying out loud what my face
Yeah.
was saying, which was.
I was
what the
worried you were
fuck?
going to ask me a question, so I was signalling that I have absolutely no idea what that all means.
No, all right, okay.
So, in February 2014, 6 weeks after Quadriga launched, Mt. Gox abruptly suspended operations, claiming that hackers had stolen $473 million from customer accounts.
That's a bit more money than the other stuff.
Now,
Yeah.
There's some numbers now.
Mount Gox
Yeah.
was the one over in Japan.
In Japan, yep.
Yeah.
That was which 70% of Bitcoin trades were done through globally.
Yeah, and so
So
they
they
said
just
we
got
have to
hacked.
stop because we got hacked. Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah. And of course,
That's opening the market for little whatever his name is.
that's exactly what happened. So a year later,
What, Gerry
Canada's
Cotten?
largest exchange. What band was he in? Or was he
I don't
just
know,
a
but I'm going
solo
to find
singer?
out.
And what song did he sing then?
Oh, well, he was on like a
On
Fat Cat
TV.
and Friends as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he had a song, I think.
I think you're both right. Let's have a look. Daryl
He was a
Cotton.
singer.
Oh, shivers, he's dead. Oh,
Yeah.
Speak ill of
I
the
feel a bit
dead,
rude
you'll
now.
get in trouble.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
wow.
Sorry about that. It says
Same
music groups.
old girl.
Zoot?
No More Lonely Nights. Do we know that one?
No, the Early Bird Show?
Oh, the Early Bird Show, yeah.
That sounds Victorian.
Sounds like a morning show.
Yeah. And with people you turn up on Hey Hey and stuff like that.
That's it. I seem for a call in
Yeah.
from Hey Hey It's Saturday.
I don't remember
or...
him doing anything, but just sort of being around. And it had like blonde sort of
Yeah.
sticky uppy hair.
Right, sorry, back to the Bitcoin story.
As riveting as it is.
We just got a little bit sidetracked all looking at Gerry Cotten. I still can't remember him though. I know the name so well, and I'm looking at him going, no.
Oh, really?
Anyway, I know the name, and I'm with you, Swanee. He popped up in things like Hey Hey It's Saturday.
Yeah.
It's like he hung with that crowd.
Totally.
And then I thought, am I confusing it because of Daryl Summers, the Daryls? But then
He was in The Young Doctors, it says here. He went on to co-host the Early Bird Show, but I don't remember that.
Was the Early Bird Show like a precursor? Did it have a big? Because
I
Big
don't know.
Ostrich, Aussie Ostrich was on Hey Hey It's Saturday.
Oh, definitely. But that'd have been from Saturday night to Saturday morning.
I don't know.
Our
Anyway,
international
Sunday.
listeners must be absolutely
Yeah,
riveted by
to never.
Daryl Cotton chat.
it's like Simon, what's his face? World of Wonders or whatever it's
Townsend.
called.
Simon Townsend.
He's-
Oh, I love
He's
that
dead
after school.
too.
Yes, he passed.
No.
Blinded
sadly,
God
yes.
as well.
So's Woodrow. Anyway,
Woodrow
right.
died a long time ago, surely.
gonna-
Woodrow would be a 48-year-old dog.
I didn't
if
say he
Woodrow-
died recently. I just said he's dead too, just in case you were
Poor
wondering.
Woodrow died a long time ago.
I'm just providing
Teenage
facts.
years,
That's
I would say.
all.
Yes. Okay, all right.
Right. So a year later, Canada's largest exchange, Cavirtex, Cavirtex, Canadian
just found
Virtual
something about Daryl Summers.
Technology.
Not Daryl Summers, Daryl Cotton. Sorry. Swanee is having a moment. You're reading
I've
and
got
you're
the
not seeing
giggles.
what's
I'm
going
sorry.
on next to you.
I just will say this and then we will move on. Daryl
She
Cotton was in a
promises.
band called Zoot, and it might have been that Rick Springfield, and I think we know that name. Is that just he
We
was in that
do.
band? So
What?
Daryl, yes,
No
it says
way.
here, yes. Fucking hell, he was like so close to
Sharon.
being.
God, Could have almost been big.
Almost. Right, there you go. I'm done.
All right.
And no more Daryl Cotton. I've got it out of my system.
Okay.
Rightio. A year later, Canada's largest exchange, Cavitex, announced its closure, also blaming hackers. The second largest exchange, Vault of Satoshi, closed the same week. Overnight, Quadriga became Canada's dominant Bitcoin marketplace.
Would you have put your money in a thing called Vault of Satoshi?
No,
what is this?
I
Is
wouldn't
this
have put
some
anything
parallel-
in something called
This
Vault of
is like
Satoshi.
gamers, isn't it? This is what gamers think is all right.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So the way they speak, probably, you're probably right.
The Vault of Satoshi. It just, sorry. I'm just too old for this.
I saw a safety thing the other day and
I'm
it said
sounding
never
like a
put
boomer.
your finger in something that you wouldn't put your penis in. And I feel like you shouldn't put your money in something you wouldn't put your penis in when it comes to Vault of Satoshi.
Not
It
about
just
to put a
sounds
penis in an
dodgy.
ATM, but sure.
It does sound ominous.
Yeah,
No. Not in the Vault of Satoshi.
Oh, no, Louise.
No. So, overnight, Quadriga became Canada's dominant Bitcoin marketplace. The following year, it launched a bid to be listed on the Canadian Stock Exchange, submitting to a full financial audit. We're excited, said Darryl at the time, to be able to provide an unparalleled level of transparency.
Is it unparalleled when everyone who wants to go on the stock exchange has to be that transparent?
I think by unparalleled,
In
he meant
Bitcoin
not
terms?
very transparent.
Right.
But nobody knew it at the time. More about that later.
So more opaque than transparent then.
Yeah, that's right. An unparalleled level of transparency. Can't see through it. Wash your windows, Darryl. Right, so Quadriga raised nearly 850,000 Canadian dollars in private capital, but Cotten ultimately abandoned the effort after a dispute with one of the major investors. The entire board of Quadriga resigned, leaving Darryl as Quadriga's only full-time employee. Despite all of this, including a software glitch that lost 14 million Canadian dollars, a cease trade order from the British Columbia Securities Commission was placed on them after Cotten failed to file an audit, and CIBC's seizure of 21 million Canadian dollars from one of its payment processors after the bank failed to determine its rightful owner. Quadriga profited widely from Bitcoin. So they've lost 14 million in a software glitch. They've had a cease trade order put on them for not filing an audit. Yeah, and lost 21 million and still made a squillion because
that's the bit I don't understand. Okay.
In 2017, the price of Bitcoin shot to nearly $20,000.
Yeah, crazy.
So he's just made squillions. And Quadriga processed nearly $2 billion in trades from 363,000 individual accounts. And the exchange took a cut of every transaction.
No transaction fees.
Yeah, I know, right? In June 2017, Quadriga announced that they had lost Ethereum worth $14 million US due to a contract error. Throughout 2018.
Are they just making words up now?
Well, Ethereum's another Bitcoin. There's a whole lot of Bitcoins now. Like I've learned a little bit through this process, but not enough to be able to explain it with any credibility. So throughout 2018, as Bitcoin prices crashed, customers of the exchange reported delays when attempting to withdraw their dollars. And I think this was quite common at the time. $28 million held by a custodian, a Quadriga payment processor, was frozen by the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce in January 2018. So that's CIBC. CIBC stated that they could not determine the ownership of the money and could not contact Gerry or Quadriga. In November 2018...
But it was in paper wallets in a lockbox.
Yeah, but you don't have the key to the lockbox. So we can't find it, mate. I don't even know which bank it's in. Jesus. It's in the Vault of Satoshi. Or whatever that thing was. Like it sounds like Fantasyland to me. It does. It's all too hard. Anyway, in November 2018, the case was decided with the accounts going to court to decide the ownership individually. Neither custodian nor Quadriga could access the funds. So there's now $1 billion on hold and nobody can really access anything. Now, whilst things weren't going well for Quadriga, things were going swimmingly for Gerry. He'd met his future wife, Jennifer Robertson, on Tinder in 2014, and they were living the high life. They had a new $600,000 yacht, 4 homes, including one on a private island, and 14 investment properties in Nova Scotia, including every house in a dead-end street in Bedford.
Where's
Poor Quadriga in Nova Scotia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they're making squillions. Quadriga not doing so well. And I forgot to mention they had a Cessna 400 and a Lexus. They also travelled overseas a lot and
Only
planned
a
to
Lexus?
sponsor. Yeah, I know, POV. That must have been because of the crash in 2018 or the Vault of Satoshi. I can't work it out.
Didn't you say you had a thing for European cars at the beginning? Oh, no, or was that his mate, his partner?
Oh, yeah, his mate did.
Right.
Yeah, patron. So they also travelled a lot and planned to sponsor a home for 12 kids in an orphanage in India. I feel like that's not a lot. 12 kids
And
in
then
an
they were
orphanage.
going to build a school for kids who can't read good. Do you know Zoolander?
That's right. I knew it
It
was someone
needs
who
to be
could play
bigger than this. What is this? A school for midgets? Do you know? I don't know if you recall, but anyway, yeah.
So he ran the business from his MacBook Pro, which he always carried with him. Apart from the time he left it behind on his yacht, the Gulliver, which caused a momentary hysteria as the yacht had already departed the dock. His entire business sailing away in his little laptop.
Does that make him a digital nomad before there was such a thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He did get the laptop back though. So Gerry suffered from Crohn's disease
That's no good.
Oh.
and seemed to live on a diet of hummus. He didn't drink beer, preferring hard cider. He loved to fly, planes, helicopters, and drones. So back to Gerry and Jenny. Jenny and Gerry married in 2018 and they travelled to India for their honeymoon. Things were going very well until Gerry suddenly took ill 9 days into the trip, shortly after checking into the Oberoi Raj Villas in Jaipur on the 8th of December 2018. He was driven to a private hospital and diagnosed with acute gastroenteritis. The following afternoon, his condition deteriorated and blood tests indicated septic shock.
God.
Before the doctors could stabilise him, his heart stopped.
Yeah.
He was revived and his heart stopped again. Barely more than 24 hours after the onset of a stomachache, he was pronounced dead.
Yeah.
The official cause of death was complications from Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
Should he have gone? Where was he in India? I don't know, I suppose.
Jaipur is a pretty big place.
It is. And is Crohn's disease one of the ones that sort of flares up and dies down, or is it constantly? I'm not sure. There's so many.
I
You
think
have to
it's
remove part of the bowel.
Yeah, I think it's more
Okay.
constant and it just
Right.
deteriorates slowly.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, his official cause of death was complications from Crohn's disease, but the gastroenterologist who treated Gerry said, "We are not sure about the diagnosis. No autopsy was requested." So the body was returned to the hotel and then sent out again to be embalmed. The embalmer refused to accept a body from a hotel, understandably.
Fair enough.
So Oberoi employees took it to a local medical college where a staffer it the body,
Him.
Gerry, to a local medical college where a staffer performed the procedure. The following afternoon, Robertson returned with the body to Canada. She left behind a dozen teddy bears they had planned to give the children of the Jennifer Robertson and Gerald Cotten Home for Orphan Children.
School for kids who
I
can't
wonder
read
how
good.
she returned with the body so quickly. That usually, I don't understand that. Do you think it'd just be in,
It's not a
Not in
field
your
of my
luggage, but-
expertise.
surprisingly?
Well, then they just pay for it. They
you
put it
think?
in the cargo. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was. I thought it was much more complicated.
I think you're repatriating the remains of a person who is from, so Canada, so who died overseas. I don't think
Yeah.
it'd be different if I wanted to ship someone's body. Like if Tony died and I decided to ship him back to the UK to be buried there, I think that'd be harder.
Yeah, I don't know why I think.
Even though he's
I feel
British
like it's very
citizen.
quick. I don't know. I'm always when you read or hear stories, there's always a delay in them being able to get on with something or go home or whatever else. That seems like
But
a very
it sounds
quick
like
turnaround.
there's no suggestion of foul play or anything, even though there was no
No.
autopsy. No one wanted to touch it, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let me tell you a little bit more then.
Oh, please
Okay.
do.
So I'm not sure whether you think there's anything that might be going on here, but
Well,
what if I...
Seems super
Crohn's
quick.
disease and sepsis are related, but it's not that regular. It's not on the reg that people just get sepsis and die that quickly at 30.
Well, and I think Crohn's disease is not fatal.
No, but it
Like,
can
it
increase
just-
your susceptibility to sepsis.
So, what if I told you at the time of Gerry's death, Quadriga was holding funds worth up to $250 million in a thing called cold wallets? Now, that you probably don't know what cold wallets
Not
are.
paper wallets.
No, they've upgraded to cold
Not
wallets.
to be confused, no.
Right.
So cold wallets, unlike hot wallets, which I found out about as well, are external hard drives disconnected from the internet that functioned like bank vaults.
Oh,
So
yeah. So
you get your
you can't
Bitcoin into a
scan
hard
them.
drive
You can't
and
take
take
them.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what if I told you that as
Were
the
they on his
business was
laptop?
run from Gerry's laptop,
Yeah,
he was the only one with the passwords to access the money?
I would believe it. Yeah.
So yes, the money was inaccessible to the 75,000 Quadriga account holders. $250,000, sorry, million US dollars lost in cold wallets from 75,000 account holders.
Oh, no.
And within a month after Gerry's death, blockchain investigators, whatever they are, proved that nearly all of the inaccessible wallets were empty.
What? How can you prove it if they're in a cold wallet somewhere?
Because they're blockchain investigators, Schmitty. They've got skills that we don't even know exist.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. But anyway, Cotten, it turned out, had transferred the funds into personal accounts on competitor exchanges. At least some of those accounts had also been emptied. The operator of an exchange on which Cotten opened accounts told Ernst & Young that Cotten had squandered most of his holdings on reckless trades. On one particular margin
Alexis.
account, he conducted 67,000 individual trades alone, placing enormous bets on fledgling currencies
gambling.
like Dogecoin, OmiseGo, and Zcash. Yeah, correct. In January 2019, the Nova Scotia Supreme Court declared the company bankrupt and selected Ernst & Young to serve as a third-party monitor, responsible for securing the lost funds belonging to Quadriga's creditors.
How would you be if you bought your Bitcoin at 20 grand and then you went
Yeah.
through a crash and then it
Plummeted.
just went anyway? Man,
Yeah.
that's a bad investment.
Ernst & Young's efforts got off to a bad start when, shortly after seizing control of Quadriga's remaining funds, approximately $1 million was inadvertently transferred to one of the accounts that Cotten's death rendered inaccessible.
Whoops! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! I typed a 6, I meant to type a 9. Oh, shit!
I've just got
Where'd it
visions
go?
of
Where's
someone.
the blockchain technologist to tell me where it went? Oh, fuck, it's got into one of those accounts. Fuck
I've
it.
got visions of some Ernst & Young person
undo.
who knows nothing about
Probably an
Bitcoin
intern.
going, look at this.
See, who do they normally
Imagine
put
it.
on? You know, when you have Ernst and Young or Deloitte or any of those big consultancies come to work at when you in any place you work, and I have experienced this. Who do they send out to talk to us to do the consultancy? That's right, the kid who's just out of university every single time. So that's who you've got there. That kid,
Yeah.
as you say, that kid out of uni going, what do I do with this then? Oh no, whoops.
Who, to be fair, probably knew the most about Bitcoin in Ernst & Young. Anyway, so they've transferred money to an inaccessible account. Genius, $1 million. 75,000 individuals who held accounts on Quadriga were clearly not happy, Jan. Just about every cryptocurrency expert in Canada had a Quadriga account. They believed in Cotten and felt betrayed. They wanted answers and they wanted revenge. A month after Gerry's death, Jenny announced on Quadriga's Facebook page that he had died. It took a month.
Well, she's busy. She had to get the body back.
They didn't
Probably
take long.
Probably had the feds all over her house, you know.
During that time, Quadriga continued
She
to
couldn't-
accept new funds,
She
but
was
returned
probably trying to
none.
work out the password for the page. The whole time. She's like,
The Facebook page.
But yeah, I've got to get into this Facebook page so I can announce his death. But he had all the passwords. She's sitting there going, name of dog 1, name of dog 2, name of dog 3.
Name of dog 1 plus an exclamation mark and a number 1.
Yeah.
Sorry, number 1 exclamation mark.
Yes, they during that time they continued to accept new funds but returned none. Remember, people were trying to get their money out for quite a while before he passed away and weren't able to, but they kept taking money. Creditors began to ask questions online about the authenticity of the formal documents in a country notorious for the ease at which falsified documents can be purchased, meaning they're having a dig at India in the process of declaring him dead.
Bit late now anyway.
Particularly after they learned that the death certificate misspelt Cotton's name. I don't think that's as big an issue given that it's an EN, not an ON, because I would have misspelt it too. And that the former chairman and managing director of the company that ran the hospital had been convicted of financial fraud 2 months earlier.
It's all a bit of a reach.
It was also revealed that Cotton had written his will just 4 days before leaving for India.
Well, he's going overseas. I do that sometimes.
Yeah, just got married, so he wants to do it, leave it to his wife or something. It detailed 12 million Canadian dollars in real estate holdings, the Lexus, the Cessna, and the Gulliver. It left 100,000 Canadian dollars for the care of their chihuahuas. The will made no mention of the external
Dog's
hard
name
drives.
1 exclamation mark. Dog's name 2 exclamation
Yeah.
mark.
Yep.
Yeah, long process in which Cotton had stored. Made no mention of the external hard drives either. So this was the detail that most shocked the cryptocurrency experts. So the thing that they were all shocked by is that if you've got money in cold wallets, you need to have a plan A and a plan B and a plan C for getting the money out. So if you lose your keys to your house, you get to call a locksmith. If you get the password to your savings account, your bank will provide a new one. If you lose the private key to your cryptocurrency wallet, a long, randomly generated password, all but impossible to memorize, your funds are gone forever. So everyone, apparently, who knows this stuff says you've got to have a way of getting that back. Shortly before his death, according to 2 Quadriga associates, Cotton told close friends and family that Quadriga had a dead man switch that would send them access to the exchange funds in the case of his disappearance or death. So the question is, was it a horrible case of business gone wrong and a tragic death, or was
Is
it
he
the
dead?
execution of a well-planned scam?
Is he actually dead?
Well, you've got to work this out, Schmitty. I can't tell you. Pay attention now. I'm glad that you're getting your conspiracy theory mind going.
Sounds like
So-
someone faking their death.
I'll tell you what the evidence suggests. In 2014, Cotton spoke publicly of moving currencies between exchanges to take advantage of arbitrary opportunities. It may be that he traded Quadriga's funds in a frantic effort to recoup the losses that he had sustained. Because as we said, it was essentially a Ponzi scheme. People invested money in it, and when they wanted to withdraw, money was taken from another investor to pay out the first one. Gerry had been siphoning money from Quadriga to essentially gamble in other cryptocurrencies. It was the behaviour of a doomed gambler successively doubling down in a desperate effort to get back to zero, until he had dug a hole so deep that only he could be buried inside it. After he squandered what was remained in Quadriga's coffers, the price of Bitcoin plunged and Gerry was in financial ruin. Then he flew to India, where he suffered a serious medical emergency that led to his death, leaving his Quadriga creditors approximately $250 million US out of pocket. That's the evidence-based theory. The conspiracy theory, Schmitty. Plenty of Telegram users have investigated this story through a group set up to explore what really happened. So there's Telegram is that messenger thing, and there's a whole lot of groups
like
on there
Reddit.
apparently, and there's one that is about what people who are creditors trying to investigate what had happened. So
and
there,
Gerry Cotten and Elvis and John Lennon are all on an island with Princess Diana, all alive somewhere. Yeah.
correct, alive and well. And Daryl Cotton. Did you say Daryl Cotton?
And Daryl Cotton.
And Daryl. Yeah.
And Woodrow.
Yeah. And Woodrow, the 85-year-old dog. Yeah.
So there is a theory that he did not die, but instead underwent plastic surgery and is now living somewhere remote, perhaps on an island or on a luxury yacht. Gerry had mentioned having a safe bolted to the rafters in the attic of his home, in which he had stored the passwords to his various cryptocurrency accounts. After learning of his death, one of his contractors immediately went to the house and searched for it. He found the place in the attic where the 4 holes had been drilled through the rafters, but the safe was gone.
Dun, dun.
Eric Schletz, the pilot who brokered Cotton's purchase of the Cessna, has described having seen Cotton walking through an airport with $50,000 in cash. There were rumours of other employees taking similar trips. Perhaps Cotton's obsessive foreign travel, because he boasted of having visited more than 50 countries without ever having been searched by customs, was inspired not by wanderlust, but by strategy. So the theory goes that he could have stowed his fortune away in foreign bank accounts in preparation for a grand exit.
Yeah.
What if the furious trading on the other exchanges near the end of his life was not careless but calculated? So Jennifer Vanderveer, who is the lead investigator for the FBI's cybercrime division, has posed this question to crypto experts. It is theoretically possible to conduct high-volume trades in such a way as to launder funds, provided that the trades are exotic enough to ensure that the losses accrue to another account that Gerry or an associate controls. This is where it all gets very confusing, but I think he's madly transferring money around and it's too hard because I think on the internet you can do so many transactions super fast. It's very hard to trace them all, is my understanding, which is very limited understanding. Anyway, under the mastermind theory, Cotten rang Quadriga by honouring enough withdrawal requests to maintain credibility. So whilst people were asking for money, he'd pay off a few and keep things ticking over. And I think pay off the noisy people. So the ones who complained the most were the ones who got paid. The plan from the beginning would be to keep the con going as long as possible before vanishing with the money. After Bitcoin collapsed and the withdrawal complaints turned into lawsuits, negative press, and the threat of formal investigation, Gerry got married, wrote a will, flew to India for his honeymoon, and disappeared. So, if Gerry is still alive, what is he doing? He would have
Is
a
he
few.
hosting something like, Australia's Got Talent? Have you looked at photos of him? He's very like David Williams.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. Without the beard. So there's one photo that pops up where he's all beardy and it's hard to tell what he looks like. But then look at his other photos. Like a young version.
That guy.
He's
He's got
got- he
quite.
looks-
I see with the beard. He's got
He
very
looks like his
puffy
younger
hair.
brother.
Yeah, I can see it.
Bit of
He's not a looker.
plastic surgery. And well, the point is, and I guess that's what he was saying, is that he can just pass through airport security and not
Yeah.
get searched. He's like a everyman. He doesn't look like anything. Like he's not bad looking, but he's not good looking. He's just everyman. Maybe he's a spy now. Has anyone exhumed his body and checked that he actually is dead?
But they have not, and we'll get to that.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's about time someone did that. Yeah.
So there's all kinds of theories about him living on a private island or, living on a yacht, blah, blah, blah. And that perhaps at some point Jennifer will, once all the heat goes down on them, Jennifer will relocate to wherever he is and they'll live happily ever after.
Unless she was all part of the front for him.
There is a third option, or third theory, which is that Jennifer Robertson was involved in the death of Gerry, either by murder to gain the money or by helping him to fake his own death, in the hope that once the heat has gone off, the two can reunite somewhere, or that she would get all of the money. So I'll tell you a little bit about Jennifer. She was born Jennifer Griffith. She then became Jennifer Forgeron through marriage. That marriage broke down and she changed her name to Jennifer
what?
Robertson. Forgeron. Forgeron. Yeah.
Right. Just checking. Okay.
But that one was through marriage.
Marriage, yeah, sure.
Yeah. That marriage broke down and she changed her name to Jennifer Robertson as she claimed that she had never liked the surname Griffith. Rumours spread that
She didn't want to keep that name.
Rumours spread that she was married to Michael Forgeron, who died in 2007. And the rumours evolved to the story that Jennifer had killed her first husband, Michael, and now she'd killed her second husband. So this is all the people in the Telegram, Telegram chat room going crazy, trying to work out what's gone on.
Rumours.
So there is no evidence of this, and Jennifer Robertson has been the target of suspicion and attacks from people who believed that she was involved in the scam. She stated that it was so hard on her that she tried to take her own life. She isn't under investigation and has never faced criminal charges. She signed a settlement in Quadriga bankruptcy case, agreeing to forfeit approximately 12 million Canadian dollars worth of assets. In a statement released by her lawyer, she said that she had no knowledge of Cotten's improper business practices and was upset and disappointed when she learned of them through the investigation. She was allowed to keep $90,000 in cash, $20,000 in retirement savings, and a 2015 Jeep Cherokee, as well as $15,000 in furniture and some jewellery, including her wedding band. Yeah, with a top off on a hot day. The top of the Jeep off, not her top off. Or both. She said that while she isn't, so Schmitty, to your point, the body hasn't been exhumed. And she said that while she isn't firmly against the idea of an exhumation, she was with Cotten when he died. I saw Gerry die. I was holding his hand when he passed away. It was a terrible, terrible moment, she said. Jenny said she's sorry for Cotton's actions and the harm he's caused. I would have never, ever stolen from other people. And the fact that he did and what he did, I carry his shame with me. And I'll carry that shame with me probably every single day for the rest of my life, she said. She wants to move on with her life and hopes her 2022 book, Bitcoin Widow, Love, Betrayal and the Millions is the final
And the
chapter of the
missing millions
Quadriga
is what it should be
scandal.
called. Yeah.
It is, sorry, yeah, Love, Betrayal and the Missing Millions.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So whilst we may never know the truth of what happened to Gerry, we do know that the investigators in Quadriga were inadvertently scammed out of $250 million. To my gullible friend who I mentioned at the start of this, if she's looking for a life lesson when she does listen, my lesson here is to avoid investing in cryptocurrencies. Whilst the rewards can be high, so are the risks. To me, it is a relatively new currency and an intangible investment which makes it easy for unwitting mum and dad investors to be scammed out of their life savings. That, my friends, is the story of Gerry Cotten. What do you think?
Gerry Cotten.
Mm,
And I probably understood about...
none of it?
23% of it.
I did not understand it. And I've tried to work, not based on today, like whenever have you heard about this farming and... Oh, anyway, have you heard about that? Is it like Bitcoin farming?
I made the comment
I've got
earlier
no
that I sound
bloody
like
idea.
a boomer, and now you
I am
do
totally
too.
a boomer. I am.
We're not. We're Gen X. But
Don't say you
I'm
don't
feeling
understand it
boomery
and then
about this
enter
shit.
another term.
Well, that's what because I
It's
don't
even
understand
worse.
any of it.
Farming. I know what farming is. It's when you go on the land and
Yeah,
you
that's
put
right.
Yeah.
animals on it and you
Plant
grow
all your little
shit.
imaginary Bitcoin into the paddock and water it. And...
I think it's just like, oh, no, it wasn't last, 2 weeks ago, the girls at Bridge were talking about it, and two of them do understand quite a little bit about it. And the other two of us were sort of sitting there going, what? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Just use words that make sense for a start too. Like if you go, it just sounds like they make shit up because they're using all these words.
Yeah.
Can you just
I
can you just
know.
use terms that
And
are
they were kind
fairly
of-
standard?
They were pretty knowledgeable. And
And they were doing layman's type.
They were
too.
sort of not for it, not against it. They could just explain it. Because I kept going, but why?
to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yes.
It's a bit
Yes,
like
yeah.
buying stocks, I guess. When you
Well,
buy
that I'd understand, but
well, the coin itself is the stock.
that's what I find weird.
Mm.
And it's like buying gold. The value of gold goes up or down. You know, like you're buying,
Yeah.
but it's a made up thing. Like at least gold,
That's
I
the
could think.
thing.
You
And you
picture
could-
in your head that gold is like there's a bar of gold somewhere that I could take and have.
Yes.
Whereas with Bitcoin, it's like it's a nothing that I've spent money on, and I might get more money out of it because it's allegedly worth something when someone else buys my nothing. But it's still a nothing.
Mm.
I don't understand it either.
Very.
It's not a tangible thing. It's intangible. That's why I struggle with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I think that's what me too. It's sort of
It's
And
an
it's-
idea.
beyond
And
my.
everything that it's
limitations.
traded in and all of that is stuff that I don't understand. So not only is it something I don't even I can't get my head around an intangible currency, all of these trading platforms and vaults of Satoshi and shit that you're like,
But he must
What?
have found a way to turn it into real money to have bought all those things with it.
oh yeah, no, so some people do make a lot of money
So
out
he
of it. I'm just saying
sold a
I can't
certain
get my
amount of
head
it to
around
someone
it.
else and got real money back for it, and then bought what was it? A whole row of shitty houses in Nova Scotia.
That
What was
was
that
A
all about?
whole
A whole
street.
street of shit houses.
It's like a well,
Did
it
they
doesn't
grow-
say
did
shit
he-
houses.
You did. You said it was like a dead end, shit end road or something.
No, the dead end street meaning like a
cul-de-sac.
cul-de-sac or a court.
You should have
Yeah.
used the French version, the cul-de-sac.
You meant like it was a shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, no, dead end as in you can't keep driving down it.
Why would you
Yeah,
buy a
no
dead
through
end place
road.
in Nova Scotia? You got all that money. Why don't you buy a nice house? Right.
yeah.
Okay. I misunderstood that.
Clarky, what
Yes.
do you think might have happened? After reading stuff, and was the documentary any good?
The documentary was okay. It was a lot of conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the thing is, it's the whole thing is so bizarre. You know, he's either done something super dodgy and gambled everyone's squillions
Yeah.
and then tragically died, or you know, the money could be anywhere, he could be anywhere.
Mm.
Bit that I just can't get my head around is, given how much money was involved, why would they not exhume the body and do DNA testing?
Yeah.
Like it just, you're sitting there saying to people,
But
as
who's
far as
investigating it? No one's investigating that he's dead, are they? That's why
well,
they
one of the
haven't done it.
things they were saying was that the authorities in Canada didn't understand, and I can empathise with this. Didn't understand the whole Bitcoin thing well enough
Bless
to
them. I'm
understand
I'd be like,
or investigate it. Like
Exactly
Ernst
right.
and Young blew $1 million with
yeah.
the work experience kid trying to investigate it. Like, if you don't know it, you don't like the whole thing. You'd be like, I can't tell where it's gone. I don't know. You tell me.
It's
So
probably also an element of people not. This is going to sound terrible, but because it's unregulated and it's weird, I bet there's a sort of like, oh well, it's your own fault. You invested
Totally.
in a nothingness,
100%.
and you lost your money. Big shit. And I
But
think that
High
could be
risk, high
why.
return. That's right.
That could be why the authority, and there's no one to go for because he's dead. So what's the return?
supposedly, and that's the bit.
What's
That's the bit where I go.
But the police aren't questioning whether he's dead. That's my point, right? So the people who have the authority to dig him up are not questioning whether or not he's dead. They've accepted that he's dead.
I think the thing is he's got a death certificate from another country where the director was, or the CEO was charged with financial fraud 2 months prior to his death. The death certificate doesn't have his name on it, and they've got the body in Canada, so they can put an end to all of that and just go, yep, it is him, or no, it's not. That to me is.
I think you need to make a call and tell them that.
Right.
You just
Should we
call
ring
and
them
say,
now?
Yeah, I know. It's Clarky from Trial by Wine. Look, we think we can solve this. It's pretty straightforward, really. What you're going to need to do is exhume the body. Okay? Yeah.
Yep.
It's
If you're having issues with it,
pretty
I'll send
obvious
Schmitty
stuff.
over. She knows how to do it.
Yeah. She certainly knows
You
how
would
to
know
put
how
them
to
in
do that,
there.
wouldn't you, Schmitty? You'd be
Dig a
able
body up.
Yeah.
and exhume it and do the DNA testing. You'd be all right with that.
Don't know about the
You could
DNA testing,
YouTube
but I
it.
did do 1 year of archaeology, so I probably could.
Oh, of course.
You fit the brief totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're sending someone over to lead
I don't think so.
investigations.
I'll be one of those people who goes to the wrong grave and digs the wrong person up.
I mean,
I think he probably did die, frankly. I think he didn't have passwords and whatever because he didn't expect to die at 30. At 30, you think you're invincible, right? And
but
I
there's
think
no
he just
money there
gambled.
either.
But I think he gambled it all, and he was chasing a win, and he figured it would come back. He probably had enough left somewhere to keep going, or I mean, I actually just think he died, and it's very unfortunate. But yes, I was the one who said, "Is he actually dead?" Because the circumstances of his death were so perfect to fake your death.
Yeah.
Go to a foreign country where corruption is rampant. You can easily drop a few thousand rupee and
You've thought this before.
disappear.
She's like, honestly, when I've looked at the different options available to
South
me.
America's always good for it too, but India's probably just as well. You want to go somewhere with a fair amount of corruption where people can disappear you.
Yeah.
Just to, make some notations, give him a new document. Like he could have bought a new ID. Same
Easy.
day as his body's gone to Canada.
Yeah.
His real body's gone off to Australia. He could be here. He could be one of our
And
25 listeners.
He could have already had it all.
Yeah, exactly. He could have had it all on him already made.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the thing I think that you sort of, if you just sort of, I was trying to go back to something that I understood in the whole scheme, what I can kind of get my head around is that it's essentially a very modern Ponzi scheme. You're still taking money and whatever it is from people and then suggesting they're going to get something else where you're actually able to apportion it to try and benefit yourself. So that, whether he died or not, how he died or whatever else, I suspect probably did too. He was already doing the wrong thing there.
There's a line in Shawshank Redemption where the prosecutor says to him about his story, well, that's very convenient.
Yeah.
And he says, do you think so? Because I think it's decidedly inconvenient. And this whole story kind of reeks of that. It's very convenient that he's gone over there and passed away and all of the millions is gone and blah, blah, blah. Or from her point of view, it's decidedly inconvenient because she's married someone and he actually did die, and all of this carry on is just hell from her perspective.
I suspect that is the case, or at least she believes he died. And from her perspective, she's lost her husband who turned out to have done all these things. I mean, whether she knew about it or not, she says she doesn't. I'm happy to believe her. But as far as we know, she's back in Canada just hanging out. So it's not like they're
together and they're like she snuck off and they're leaving some high life somewhere. Yeah,
and she didn't get anything out of it.
No.
No,
$90
so all the
grand and
money's
just
gone, the
and just the
husband's
QG.
gone, and the shame
grief
and
and the
the
shame and the horrible,
hysteria
yeah.
around it. Like, it's decidedly inconvenient.
It's very inconvenient
So-
for her, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Any sentences if he is alive?
I see. If he's alive, that makes me angry.
He could get real sepsis but not die from it, just like lose his fingers and toes and bits of his arms and stuff. Like people who get
Yeah.
sepsis. That's pretty fucking horrendous.
Yep, agreed. That would be good. I don't know. Like, if the island is that he's living on, maybe it should be like
A zombie.
an uninhabitable island that's got Komodo dragons and shit running around trying to infect you with their bite.
Oh, yeah. I forgot they do that. Gross.
Oh, they're gross. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, they've got so much bacteria in their mouth that when they bite you,
Yuck.
you start dying from all of literally.
Revoltingness.
Ugh.
Okay. All right. Well, he can be on a volcanic island somewhere because that's what I'm picturing now. Like something out of King Kong, only the Komodo dragons with dirty mouths out to get him.
Yeah,
Wash
that's
your
perfect.
mouth out.
Which may then
Komodo
give him
dragon.
sepsis and then his fingers and toes fall off.
Colgate would have a field day with what's that wash? Your mouth wash?
Listerine.
Listerine. Komodo dragon strength.
Whoa.
Oh, that'll blow your head off. All right. Well, that was a good one. I don't know how I missed Gerry Cotten, Daryl's younger
Modern day
brother.
scammer.
Modern day scammer, yeah. Well, beware. Bitcoiners, beware. And on that note, as we say every week, miss you already. Ciao. Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.